Howdy. Old thumbs up. Rule of thumb. Let's see. I'm going to try something a little different today. Let's see if this works. Actually, just do this. I'm going to try to play to a little backing track and see. Okay. Morning. All right, gonna throw that down a little bit. So that's one of the new backing tracks that I got. I'll post that here shortly. I don't have that up on the site yet, but I just wanted to make sure that it was okay. But yeah, how's it going? Chilling out today. I did. Bring a beer. Okay. So, I guess we'll talk a little bit. Yeah, it's going pretty good. We had a gig last night. It was fun. I brought the double bassman amp out again, and the Space Echo got that working again. So apparently, it was working this whole time. I just didn't try it. The last time I tried it, the little arm that I keep talking about that hits the tape. I thought I tightened it. It wasn't tight enough at first, and the tape kept flopping away from the tape head, and delay would just drop away. So I tightened it a little too much, and it created, like a tape dragging, as if you would hold your fingers on a tape and it slowed down, so it doesn't work. The guitar goes out of tune by like a half step or whatever. But I guess I had loosened it just a little bit and got it just right, and now it's working perfectly. So I'm definitely going to use that setup for the next album and stuff. Yeah, it helps if you plug them in. Yeah. Beer in your hand. Cheers. Cheers. I haven't cracked mine open yet, but I might as well, right? Ah. Yeah, so it worked great. Had the double thing, stereophonic, whatever they call it, going from out of the Space Echo, and it's weird. It's cool. It's cool sound if you're right in front of it, or obviously if you have it mic'd through a PA system, which I didn't. So, here's, I got a glass too. I have a Stein that holds 3 beers. I can't find it though. I don't know where it is. The problem with that thing is that once you get down to like the last, the beer is warm by the time you get down to it. At least for me. Cheers. Um, yeah. Thanks for the yeah, the Rockabilly Boogie video, Rockabilly Boogie. Yeah, it's the timing on those solos are weird, aren't they? The especially the first one, I think. Um, the beginning of the second one is weird at first. I mean, the beginning part, like that's fine, that's easy, but then you have to go into the. I don't know how many times I had to go over that. um, and once you get into this part, then it kind of flows. It's easy enough because it's just a scale down. Um, and then the third one is just the low end stuff, and it it it's weird. It's hard. It's kind of hard to hear. So I'm like, a great utility to use is if you can find a program to slow it down and listen at half speed or at least just 75% slower, just so you can really hear what's going. You'll pick out things that you didn't hear before. Uh, I slowed it down to listen to that third solo. I didn't even hear stuff like all that kind of stuff. I could barely hear it at normal speed. So when I slowed it down and then listened to it again, oh, there it is. I can kind of hear it because the old recordings, nothing's isolated. Everything's recorded within a live room with a few mics. So it's it's tough to get some of that stuff. And there's very little in the way of resource as far as finding tablature or notation in any way to even give a like an outline of it. You can like if you want to. That's I started out listening to the Beatles and plenty of information on that, so that's everywhere. Although a lot of the stuff is inaccurate. Um, but yeah, I have that big Hal Leonard, like every Beatles song with all the whole every instrument notated and whatever. There's a lot of errors in that book, but it still gives you a place to start. Where with this rockabilly stuff, there's just listening. You got to figure it out by ear, and so the more popular stuff, obviously, there's more resources, but the stuff like for the Johnny Burnett stuff, there's not as much as you would think. Train kept a rolling, yes, because everybody covered that. Um, but the other stuff, a little more difficult. Um, yeah, that took a little bit getting the timing on that first solo. I mean, once you get like that, even messed it up there. And then what is it? What is it? Yeah, it's back and forth. It's all over the place. And I'm guessing kind of like how he would play it. Um, because you don't know exactly. I've seen some people play for that timing thing, but yeah. Well, I rely on other players as well. And we all work together, right? You know, um, to try to somebody figures out one little part and I go, "Oh, that sounds right." And let me listen to it and compare and you all kind of figure it out and then I'm sure I've gotten things wrong um in videos somewhere as other people have, I'm sure. And we all just kind of, figure it, roughly figure it out. It's fun for the video to be able to transcribe it and have a source if somebody wants to learn the solos exactly. Although, um, now that I know them, sort of more or less, I when I play the song live, which we did last night, I can play the solos as close to as close as I can live. You know it in your head, and then going and executing it live is different. And then you find something that works easier for you live, especially playing and singing with timing, that you end up figuring out your own way of doing it, and it's going to vary from the original, and you'll forget that you're playing it differently down the road. But as long as it still works and generally overall sound, if it sounds good and it's working live, it doesn't really matter. I don't think if solos are, you know, exactly 100% note for note. That's not. It's cool to be able to do. I think it's important to learn solos, to learn how to. It helps you with improvisation because that's where you learn different techniques. I think that's better than just learning a technique by itself. You learn a technique by itself, you're just learning that in a vacuum, and you're not really learning how to um, put that in context, put that into a song. Like, okay, great, I've learned this riff or this lick or some sort of picking technique, but how do I implement that into playing? Well, if you learn songs, individual like real songs from start to finish, instead of just learning pieces of songs, that's kind of how you start out, obviously, but then you're learning the solo as well, and then you'll learn that technique and say, "Oh, I see," And then when you go to learn a technique, you say, "Oh yeah, yeah, I play that in that solo in that other tune," and you can see how it's actually used within the progressions of the tunes, and it helps you with your own improvisation and of course songwriting and everything else. So that's my opinion when it comes to learning guitars. Just learn the whole song, and that will be ultimately better than just trying to learn individual soloing techniques that can be good, but you also have to learn how to place them and play in context, which is again where the backing tracks can come in handy. It's everything. It's putting it all together and and doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but never relying too heavily on one specific thing, you know. And then you can, because if you improv everything, if you improvise everything, then you're never really going to look and you don't really learn techniques, and you're just kind of flailing about with scales. You might develop a technique and a style of your own, or you might not. A lot of the times not, and it's just individual notes being played, and it doesn't really make any musical sense. Um, or you learn individual licks and riffs and stuff based on scales, and then it just sounds like a barrage of notes. It almost sounds like, I always kind of joke, it sounds like just somebody pressed play on I want a guitar solo. It just sounds like a gentrified kind of randomized loops of soloing, and thinking about it in terms of melody as well, playing less notes. So occasionally I'll solo and I'll get into it and I'll play a lot of notes, and then I'll step back and say, this next solo, next time around, I'm going to play sparsely and just play melodically. Think about the notes that are in the chords and try to add something else. And another thing that can help too is listening to um, jazz. And even if you don't like jazz, to listen to the saxophone soloists, not necessarily for the notes, but for the rhythms, especially if you're playing swing. A lot of rockabilly stuff swings. You can feel that um, the rhythms that they're adding to the notes, as opposed to just playing, all these runs and that's great and everything, but sometimes once in a while to just break down and just go, you know, you know. whatever, and kind of bop around with the rhythm, even if you're playing basic, basic, even if you're playing basic scales, you're still listening to the rhythmic aspect of it. Um, oh yeah. Well, the jazz guys are playing usually modes, and they're playing, all sorts of different, you know, all these crazy riffs, things like that. Um, yeah, like I said, there's a great jazz guitar player, Jimmy Bruno, who has a YouTube channel. Um, he's got some good advice on this kind of stuff. Um, yeah, so I like to mix it up. Some things are. Oh yeah, yeah, he did have jazz lessons. There's a great. Um, I don't know. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. Back when the behind the music, what was it? VH1 used to do that thing, and they had one on Setzer. I want to say it was like 2000, 2001, and they mention him and his teachers actually interviewed in that behind the music series. Mm. I'm gonna look. I don't see. It could be because I'm not looking at it. Hmm. Let me just go. Hopefully, it doesn't feed back on me. Yeah, it didn't show. It didn't. The link didn't pop up for some reason. Weird. I thought you were allowed to do that. Huh. Well, if you send it in a, it's weird because the last one, the Danny Gatton one you sent, I didn't get it that way, but I did get it when you sent it again on the comment later after the video was done for some reason. But you should be able to send links for it via chat because I've seen that done before. I wonder if it's some setting that I have. No, I'll just search. Yeah, I can search for it. Okay. Yeah, who knows? YouTube changes their stuff all the time. Um. Anyway, cool. Yeah, I found that that works well. Trying to. I've got a couple of jazz books myself, like um, just on jazz improvisation and just learning, and it's helpful to learn. And I've gone through a jazz book and just you might find that 70% of it's something you're never going to use, but you'll find a little bit that you'll use, and you can implement that into something else. So it's always cool to break out, and all this stuff is kind of related to each other. It's still, it's not. You get into something else more like metal, then it's not really as related. I guess there's somewhat of a relation there. I mean, it's all music and it's all, but technique wise, I mean, that's more I don't know, metal. It sounds more like it has more in common musically with classical actually than it does with than blues and R&B and rockabilly and that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'm not a big fan. It's as it's, I don't like to be critical, but you know, it's not my it's not my cup of tea. I will say I have been to a metal the death metal concert actually. I went to um years ago, 15 years ago. And I just, I was disappointed because I said, I'm just going to go. I want to go and I want to just hear what that sounds like, just loud and in your face, and feel the bass and feel, and just be blasted out of the room. And it was quiet. It was really quiet. I was like, this sounds like something that I would have on in my um my my room. I've heard rockabilly bands way louder than that. But anyway, so let's see, move this out of the way. Yeah, I'll flip over here. Let's see if I can get this going. This was kind of the setup last night. The beer is wonderful. Thank you. The It's not an IPA, it's an APA. It's American Pale Ale, but it's low alcohol content, tastes good, you know. So yeah, you can kind of see it. I have another photo here to kind of see the setup. Less filling, yeah. Yeah, it's simple. It's a cool setup. It's got the he's got this is an old K and K, K and K, an old K base, 1936 or 38, one of those 2 years. So been around for a while, and it's still sounds great. And this is like a Gretsch, um, short scale. I got same thing I got on the wall behind me. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah. Um, he's got tons of Rogers kits, vintage kits. That's a '60s kit, and he's got a couple, two or three other, maybe four other vintage Rogers kits. They're all 60, like 64, 65, something like that. Um, he knows all that stuff, and then he has a DW, of course, bunch of different drum kits, Zildjian cymbals, and I play through these two basemans. I alternate between the two of them. They do one's a 63, one's a 64, so they sound a little bit different. Um, People at the gig, um, probably at capacity, maybe I don't know, 75, maybe less, maybe 50. It's kind of, it's a pretty long show, so we play from like 10 to 1, and that's not that long, I guess. Sometimes we start a little earlier, but and it's open till 2, so we can go ebb and flow depending on whatever. But a lot of people, it's a lot of changeover in the audience. Yeah, the gold sparkle jet. Um, those are really cool. I can't decide whether I want to get the gold or the silver. I think I want to get the one with one, whatever, regardless of the finish. I want to get the Dynasonic pickups instead of the Filtertrons, just so it's a little sounds a little different. Although I would love to have like the Dwayne Eddy um, Dynasonic, or even the original 56 6120. Chet Atkins had the Dynasonic pickups or DeArmond pickups or whatever they were called. Right. Yes, that's true. Yep. T. Armand now. Okay. Um, yeah, the Phillips tubes. He bought the whole stock of them, and can't get them anymore. I know a couple. I know a couple. Somebody around here. I know a guy around here who has like one set of the Phillips tubes. It's not worth it. I mean, I don't think it's worth it. It's just that's old new old stock stuff. You can buy there's RCA tubes. I've 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 tried them. I did a AB once where somebody had the Phillips and the RCA and the just the tongue saw tubes that everybody gets now. And there's some other companies coming up that are they're being made in America again, making making some tubes. And there's a couple of different areas where you can get tubes and stuff like that now. But I just have the tongue saws in mine, and they last for a while. Several years. I don't. One thing I did hear, or it's a guy I play with. He's an electrical engineer, and so he said that basically once you turn your amp on, just leave it on for the night. Don't turn it on and off, and don't put the standby on either. Tubes are meant to run hot, so just turn them on, and they'll last longer than if you. It's the shock of the power coming back to them, even with the standby, and so you're better off to just leave the amp on and let it run, and then when you're done for the night, then turn it off. That's what I was told. So I've been doing that, and it seems to work. I've had the same tubes in this amp now for geez, at least 5 years, and they're still fine. So that's what I just continue to do. But when I did the AB thing, I noticed that the older tubes were a little darker sounding, maybe a little warmer, I suppose. And I used to have the 6L6s in there, and they were just a little too much power, just too distorted. And so I went down to the 5881s or whatever, and that. Oh, there are those preamp ones. No, that's the power ones. Yeah, actually have one right here. I think this is an old one. I don't know what this is. Yeah, this isn't a tongue saw. This was my old tube. An old tube. Oh no, this is a. I think this was just a replace. I don't know where this came from or whatever. I think this may have just been a replacement, but it's a tongue saw, and that's the 5881s are a little bit easier to work with. You can turn your amp up. You can get a cleaner sound, and you can crank it a little bit more and get that break up a little bit earlier, where you think you want it. Russian, actually. Um, so for obvious reasons, they're a little tough to get right now. But there's a lot of people that still have them in stock, and there's plenty of other tubes. You just want to make sure that, at least for me, for this amp, the 5881s are, you can, you think you want a loud, oh, I want it loud and clean. It's like, but when you're in a live situation, you you turn it up and it's like, oh man, I can just barely turn it up and it's too loud. So you put the 5881s, you can turn it up a little bit more and you can get a nice breakup. And I run into that problem. I have a uh, Hot Rod Deluxe Fender, and that amp it has the 6L6s in it, and it's so loud. It's almost impossible to control. I do have a tiny little separate master control. It's not really an attenuator because it plugs into the FX loops, but it does help a little bit. But you lose the sustain and the touch sensitivity when you do stuff like that. Um, so I don't really use the amp as much as I thought I would. I thought I would use it for smaller venues or just ease of transport, but that thing's actually heavier than the Bassman. So I keep it in a rehearsal spot, and that's basically it. And maybe I'll use it for like lap steel stuff or something, because it is nice and clean if you don't use the distortion channel. Um, don't have a lap steel, but I would like to. Gretsch makes a pretty decent one. A friend of mine's got a old Rickenbacker. Those are cool. And the bass player and I have been talking about building a unitar. See if we can make one of those things work. Just for just so we can play Twitchy live. This week I don't have anything. Looking at my calendar, I don't have anything for the next 2 weeks. But then I have two gigs like right in a row, so it kind of makes up for it. And then I got a gig after that, and then there's a break, and then I got another show. I got two. So once we hit the May, and up here it's like Memorial Day is kind of the kickoff for the year, weather-wise, and there's a lot of outdoor shows and events and that sort of stuff. And so after that, I'm looking at my calendar, right? It's like, yeah, May, June, July. Oh my God, July. Um, I was just thinking about the other day. The most gigs I've ever played in a week was 12, and that year I want to say that was 2014. And on average, that year I was playing, at least for a good 8 months out of the year, I was playing 9 gigs a week for almost a year, and that was brutal. Before that, I'd worked up. I was doing 3 or 4 gigs a week. Now, play practice. I play the guitar every day, a little bit. Some days I'll go without playing. I used to play. I practice more now than I did. For a while, I was playing bass pretty much exclusively, and then I switched back. I'd started on guitar, of course, and kind of learned them at the same time, and then because you learn guitar, you kind of learn bass. It all kind of works together, and it's good. It's benefit. There's a good benefit to playing bass. It really helps you understand and listen for chord structure, and especially if you get thrown into a situation, um, where you don't know the material and you're just filling in. You get used to following people and learning to play on the fly and like on the job training kind of thing. And playing bass is very helpful for that. It really trains your ear to know like where the song's going to go, what chords are coming up, and it brings you back down to the basics and understanding how bass lines are working in a song and how it's walking up from one to the other and whether to walk up the major scale of the key that you're in or the major scale of the chord that you're playing. And so that depends on the song and the sound that you're going for and that sort of thing. It all kind of works no matter what. But yeah, and most of those gigs were on bass. That 12-week gig was majority bass, and there were, I want to say, yeah, one guitar gig, and that was the last one of the week. So I did 2 gigs on Wednesday, 2 gigs on Thursday, and they were all kind of in the same town in Newport, Rhode Island. So easy to bounce around between them because you have to do doubles and triples in order to do that. And then I did 4, 6, yeah, yeah, because it was 2 on the Thursday. It was a while ago, so it was like 2 on the Thursday, 2 on the Friday, like afternoon, evening was usually what it ended up being, or early evening, late night, and then Saturday was like an early morning, afternoon, evening show, and then Sunday was same thing, early morning, afternoon, evening, and yeah, that's yeah, a lot of vacationers, and so that's why Rhode Island gets a lot of tourists in that area. Um, Especially in that time of year. Now it's all year round. I mean, there's vacationers, tourists all the time. It used to be that during about October ish, um, right after Halloween, everyone would kind of disappear, and then things would slow down for the winter and early spring, and then Memorial Day would kick it all off, and then you'd just be crazy. You just kind of live tired. That's when I was doing music completely full time, and it's brutal to try to make a living doing at that level. Um, so there's rich people, but they don't come out. They don't come out to the a few places. We actually played a couple. There's a couple or one place that we played in Newport called the Clark Cook House, and there's a lot of wealthy individuals, and they'll come out there. I don't think there's any other place. There's a couple other places, but you'll have to play like you're in the background. You're not really the center of attention, so it's not like a rock show or whatever. So yeah, I like it. I love it in Rhode Island, New England in general. It's yeah, I guess they're in Mass. The Kennedys are in Mass, I think. Um, I don't know exactly, but yeah, they're from the New England area, or is it Connecticut? I don't remember. I thought it was Mass. Yeah, I don't really get. One thing that's funny about Rhode Island, nobody likes to go anywhere. Nobody really drives, and they all kind of stay. Like you go to Texas or anywhere else in the U.S. and oh, it's only 20 minutes or an hour, whatever. Nobody bats an eye. Rhode Island, 5 minutes. Oh my God, I gotta drive over there. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because the infrastructure is kind of bad, but it's the nice thing about it is that because nobody goes anywhere, as a band, you can play all around the state and always have a new audience for the most part. Oh, they probably do. Um, I'm not familiar. I know was the name of the mansion? We actually played a couple of gigs. One of them, a couple of them. That's one of the famous ones. I can't remember. Um, Belcourt was one of them. That's not the famous one. It was another one. Um, yeah, yeah, that's true. We have people. I'm living in Brooklyn and have Manhattan. People who live in Manhattan, they don't leave the island. Philly's the same, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, with you live in Manhattan, and I get it. You know, everything's there. You don't really need to go anywhere else. But yeah, I didn't either. I lived in New York. I didn't have a car. There's no reason to because it's just so easy to just take the subway or cab or whatever. Now Uber, I guess. But um, yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't have had a car out there. I think the cost of parking and registration and all of that, insurance is just massive. And most of the people that I worked with there, if they weren't from New York, their car was still registered in Kansas or whatever because it's just it's not worth changing it, you know. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not familiar with which New Yorker cover, but probably recognize it if I saw it. But yeah, I've moved the I've did the busking thing a couple times. Did guitar. I only did bass though, so I had like the little wheel on the bottom of the bass and wheel it around down into the subway and then lift it over the turnstile and swipe the Metro card and go into. So I didn't have the tokens or anything. I remember that they had that, but I was that was before my time. Um, um, yeah, we're actually working on a lot of new material. We have 7 new originals recorded. We just have to. I have to finish mixing them, and one of the things that I do when I record the guitars, and I do this for the videos too, is the I reamp the guitars. So I'm not playing the stuff live, um recorded the amplifier. I play it in the studio, but then that's recorded direct and then you output that back into the amplifier so then you can spend more time controlling the sound of your amp and get the sound you want as opposed to trying to, you know, get it right the first, get the sound right the first time. That way you can always go back and like, I didn't like that. Let me change a setting on the amplifier and reamp that again. And you can use that same track and try different amplifiers and all sorts of things like that. So I was waiting to get my Space Echo fixed, but it's working. So I'm going to start tomorrow actually and um, start reamping some of these all these guitar parts, and then I just have to. All the vocals are recorded for the most part. There's some harmony stuff that has to be done, and some percussion, and then uh, for a couple tunes. And I think we're just going to release instead of. It's been so long since we've released anything new. Instead of releasing, waiting till it's all done, I'm just going to finish one, get it mastered, and then release a YouTube version of it first, and do that for each individual songs, and then once all of them are done and recorded, then I'll officially release an album on Spotify or whatever. Um, do 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 do. Mm, potentially, potentially, if I can find them. New studio. I know they're here somewhere. um, yeah, you know what? I can do that. Next, I can grab. I'll do that. I'll have the next for next week. I will get the I can get the demos together or at least, or I can get probably have some of the raw tracks before they're finished, before they're completely mixed, and get a rough mix, and we can listen to that. Yeah, I don't know where I may not have the demos on here anymore. They were recorded a while ago, probably, oh, geez, longer than I'd like to admit, a couple of years ago. And yeah, I'll do that. I'll have some. I'll have at least one or two rough mixed by next week, and that'll give me an incentive to get it done, because it needs to get done, and then we can listen to those on stream, and then I can do because now we have the I appreciate you saying, hit the like and subscribe, definitely, if you can. That helps the channel out. Like the stream, like subscribe to the channel, and it all helps push it in the algorithm, and more people see it, and we get more subscribers, and everything does that. Yes, we definitely have an album drop party. Absolutely. That's going to be fun. Um, well, we'll do yeah, we can do a live stream party. I'll try to as I release the songs, I'll release them like right before the Saturday stream when they're done, and then we can have that. But then when the album is completely done, we'll do the album drop party for sure. Absolutely, that'll be fun. Um, yeah, I'm gonna start doing. I've already started editing a little bit of it, just just to help with the membership thing, and have I mentioned it for the first time at the end of this video, and that's just a work in progress, and kind of charting. It's new territory for me to see what I can do, and just come up with some extra content for that, and put it on there. But then we can also view the videos as well, even though it'll be like members only videos or whatever. I'm not gonna put like a bunch of stuff behind that paywall or anything. Just just little things here and there, and then we can always watch them together on the live stream too. So you have a chance, you can see all that stuff as well. But yeah, the lessons are still going to be going forward. All the next video I'm going to make, I'm going to take a little bit of break from the lessons. I'm going to try to get that history of the Fender Bassman video done next, just to switch it up for the next video, and then I have Honey Don't coming out after that. And unless I hit some sort of snag with the other. And I did have one thing, it will be dropping hopefully soon, is I got this company reached out a couple weeks ago called Xtuga, and they were it was a wireless guitar system, and they just asked me to do like a little video of it and review it. And so I made a video of it, but I'm just waiting for their approval before I drop it. So it's just it's just to show you kind of like what the system does and everything else. It's not really a sponsorship. Um it's just they sent me a free wireless thing, and to try out and make a little video on it in for the for the uh, for the sample product. And I tried it out. It was pretty good. I used it on a gig actually, and yeah, it's not bad. Um, it works on the bass and the guitar. So yeah, they are. I was surprised at how easy it was to use. I've run something like this one doesn't use, a lot of them use Bluetooth, I guess. At least that's what I've seen in the past. This one uses just a UHF wireless transmission. Maybe it's still Bluetooth technology. I don't know, but that's what they say it is. And it I didn't get any drop signal or any lag or anything like that. I remember trying wireless systems way back, like like 20 years ago, and it wasn't great back then. They kind of had a delay, not a delay, but the attack, like the presence, the attack of the notes weren't there, so you'd lose that. And it was fine if you're playing with distortion or something like that, but if you want that, like, for rockabilly, you really want that kind of bright attack, and I lost it, so I never really went back to trying wireless systems. And at that point, you'd have to have a big receiver and a big thing connected on your belt or whatever. Um, and so this thing, yeah, it's just I don't have it plugged in now. It's just a cable, but it just connects, easy. Works on the upright too. It's great for if somebody likes to spin their bass, you don't get the cables tied around, which I mentioned in the video that I made for it. And what is the nice thing about this thing, I didn't even know this was possible, but you could have one transmitter coming out of your guitar, and it can go to several receivers, up to 10, I think it is. So you could have it, you know, one going into a direct signal, one going into a couple of amplifiers, one going wherever, and you use it with any instruments. Kind of cool. So, so yeah, my first kind of a foray into not, like I said, not really a sponsorship, more of just a product advertisement commercial sort of thing. But yeah, they just gave me the device to review, and it is good. It's good, and relatively inexpensive. Yeah, right. Satellite dish. Yeah, those things. You're mentioning the amp modeling thing. Um, I can't remember. I wish I could remember the name of it. My uncle has he's a guitar player, and he has this totally different style, but he's got an amp modeling system, and it's this like a pedal board, and you don't need an amplifier. You just plug it into the guitar, or into like a PA speaker, like a powered speaker, and you can have all different amplifier sounds and everything else. And I remember using the old pod, Line 6 pod, and that was okay, but yeah, with the basements, I don't really need it, but they are cool. They are cool. They're definitely easier to go through, to use. Sure, we'll do a tune. Let's see. Let's see. Let me look at my set list and see what. Or actually, how about I can bring the set list up, and you got, if you want to pick something, I can kind of play through it, or we can go over it. Waiting for. Okay. So we have three set things here that we do. This is our main set. This over here is what we call our alt set. So it's stuff that we don't play normally, but we know in the we know how to do it and pull it out if we need to, want to, whatever. Um, try to get them both on screen here, but I'll just go down this one here, this first. But yeah, this is an original. That's a new original. That's an original. That's an original. Um, Surf Rider, Guitars Cadillacs. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's it. It's been a while. That's basically the whole tune. Really, it's just 2 chords. Yeah. And then it the solo is a something like that. It's A to an E. That's all it is. That's what. Like I said, it's on the alt list for a reason. Yeah, A and E, A and E. It's 2 chords. It doesn't actually go to the 4. It does that ending. Does that at the end. That's really, and then there's a fiddle solo in there, which you do whatever you want to do. You know. For the let's see, the back rider. And we do this. This is fun. This is just we throw in like we do just the first song actually is a Western song. It's called Because They Were Young. It's I think Dwayne Eddy. But it kind of sounds westerny. And then we go into Bonanza. Yeah, right. And then we do Magnificent Seven. And then we go into Blazing Saddles. Bally High is from South Pacific. Yeah, it kind of has like this Hawaiian rhythm to it. So actually, there's a video of us playing it on the channel. The She's the One Ramones, that's kind of we kind of do it like a rumba. So. Yeah, I mean, we've been doing it for a while. I mean, each of us individually have been doing it for 20, 30 years. So Originally, Personal Jesus was Depeche Mode. We kind of. It's fun. It's the rockabilly with the slap bass and the floor tom on the drums. It's cool. We actually did record a studio version of that because I'm going to release a couple of covers that we've changed and done on a little bit different. Um, I didn't see that. I'm not familiar with the name. I might know Dickie Betts. I'm not sure who that is, but I probably would know like songs or whatever. Oh, Black. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Oh, no, is that who did? No, Black Slacks. No, we don't do. Um, haven't done that before. I've played it with other people, but um, I've never played it. It's just, I don't think there's much to it. It's just a 145, for the most part. But yeah, it's a fun song to play. Of course, like the Robert Gordon. Um, oh right. Oh yeah, I did see that. Okay. See, I'm just bad with names. Yeah. Um, yeah, I did see that. Yeah, that's a yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. I don't know. Probably. I, it's a toss up between My Baby Left Me and Baby Let's Play House. Something like that. All right. That'd be a fun song to go over. Do a lesson on that one. Yeah, I played Baby Let's Play House. It's been a while since I played that one. I used to play that on the bass all the time because it's that one's cool because it's got the both uh, Scotty stuff and Bill Black the the walk down on the bass part. So sounds great. Other than Bobby Fuller 4, other than I Fought the Law. Is that on there? Should be. If it's not, huh? It's not there. Well, it's gonna be. I haven't played it in so long. I totally forgot about that song. Yeah, so this is all the. I haven't played them in a while. Yep, I just put it there. um, yeah, we do that. Well, this is Johnny Burnett, so we have that. Sea of Love. I kind of based on the original version, and it's a pretty straight ahead tune. I change up one thing on the turnaround instead of just going to the five. I add like a 625 thing. So kind of rhythm. It's cool to play it. Nice to add that, and I added like a little chord melody. Um, uh, Chord melody type solo to it. Don't have any Roy Orbison. We've been talking about doing a Roy Orbison tune for a while, but it's trying to find the right one. I have, it's tough and it's hard to sing. I mean, that's Roy Orbison's not easy to do. We do Rattled, also not on my list. Why is that not there? That's Traveling Wilburys. There. Great tune because it doesn't really change. It's the same chord, just one chord, easy to solo over. People love dancing to it. It's a fun groove. We played it last night. That was cool. That actually went over the best we've played it in a while. Um, the Yeah, it is the vocal on Roy's tunes. I mean, we could do, I used to play Rock House, but it's such an unknown song that nobody really gets it. Yeah. Yeah, and it's funky too. It changes it up a little bit. So that's when I usually play the Telecaster. I'll bring that out and just change up the sound a little bit. Works very well. And then we'll do uh, good, what is it? Yeah, Good Time Charlie, which is kind of a there's no real version of that. I mean, the version I found is kind of slow. We kind of do like a funky kind of thing. Um, it's just a standard blues in C. That'll Never Do is that um, Freddie King blues stuff, and Yellow Jacket. That's we do a lot of the surf stuff. Yeah. uh, I didn't ask you. You asked that question about the Mystery Train thing. Yeah, I bounce back and forth between the two versions, so I'll start off like that with the Scotty Moore. Still one of my favorites, and then I'll switch it up and. Those are those. That's still probably one of my favorite sounding licks. Um, let's see what else. Yeah, with that Sea of Love, I'll add like a little chord melody thing going on. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I know. I noticed there just wasn't a lot of information on that particular riff for some reason. Everybody has the Scotty Moore one, which is great, and but the Setzer one, I just remember watching it and just sat there with the watching TV, watching a show or whatever, and just do this, and then just without the two together, and then finally one day I just, oh, I got it, I did it, and I just would keep playing it, and then go back and say, I definitely have it, definitely got it. Yeah, the dead thumb. Sometimes it rolled like the rockabilly stuff. It's like you're playing over a chord, so the thumb doesn't matter. You can hit the whole chord if you want, but it's not like playing individual bass notes like Chet Atkins or whatever. Or Jerry Reed. Um, any blues? As far as nothing. Um, you mean like um that that early blues stuff? Not real. I'm trying to think if there's anything we have that's close to that. Not really. I mean, Wildcat Tamer is probably one of the older blues tunes that we do, which is not that old, but in comparison. So nothing really from the 30s or anything like that. Although I mean, we have like, it's not really a blues. It's more of the ragtime thing. The Oh by Jingo. Been a while. Chicago's Texas. Well, the closest would be like that. That'll Never Do, the Freddie King thing. Um, so we got some stuff like that. Yeah. That those blues licks and things like that. What's the other tune we do that's kind of in that vein? Is Buzz Me? Is that's a Louis Jordan thing, but um the Louis Jordan version's is slower. We kind of shuffle like kind of like Kansas City almost. Oh yeah, we got plenty of that kind of stuff. The what was the other? There was another. It just thought of it. A Good Rockin' Daddy. I mean, that's kind of it's Ella Fitzgerald, but and of course Setzer did a version of it, but um, um Yeah, it was always an evolution of music. It always kind of it added to, always was there. And I think it's great now is that you can go back and you can pull from all these different genres, whether it's old blues, Delta blues, and the mom and pop of it all is the blues, right? So you have that's your foundation, and then that kind of mixed with folk and country, R&B, rockabilly, rock and roll. Everyone was kind of doing all different things regionally at the same time, but yet had a different sound and a different approach to it. And rockabilly kind of culminated a lot of that, at least from my perspective. And from a playing perspective, it's one of the things that drew me to it so much was because of the mixture of everything. You didn't have to be stuck in a box. You could play a rock. You could, and then throw in a little. Yeah, it's like a melting pot. Yeah. Um, and it's great to to pull from all of that stuff. And you don't have to be. It's. I find that other genres of rock and um, just it's very much puts you in a box, um, soloing or whatever, and you kind of have to play um, like a lot of the '80s pop rock or hair band stuff. It's 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 kind of based around either pentatonic or major scales, and you don't really see too much. Sometimes you'll see some blues stuff in there, but sometimes it can sound out of place. You never really hear diminished scales or augmented things going on, or any other modes or anything crazy. Everything's pretty uh, melodic, really, but which is it's fine. It's whatever you're into. But yeah, unto itself, yeah. I I just find that for me, it's very constricting. That's my problem. That's my issue with it. Otherwise, whatever you're into, it's fine. But what was that other blues tune that we did? Oh yeah, Good Rockin' Daddy. And in the middle of that song, oops, I throw in you recognize that right? Bill Doggett, I think Honky Tonk. Yeah. um. Yeah, that's a fun thing. I like to toast on different songs in in that at the end of the end of the night, one of our final tunes is "The Hustle Is On," which is a T-Bone Walker song. We kind of play it a little faster and swing it a little bit more, and it's all. I just kind of make it up as I go. I don't know. And but at the end of the song, we throw in like 1 o'clock jump. I'll do. And then we'll go into Little Brown Jug. I'll do In the Mood. And I was going into. It's been a while since I played it, but I used Chattanooga Choo Choo at the end of there, but then I go into Anything Goes. Just kind of toast on all these different songs, and then hit it with a typical ending kind of thing, and have a an outro riff that's fairly common. Pretty much every song like that. A lot of songs have that. Convenient way to end a song. Pennsylvania 65000. Yeah, could do that. That's In the Mood. I remember. Oh yeah, da 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 da. Yeah, da 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 da. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, you had mentioned 49 Mercury Blues. That's a cool one. That's a fun one for me to play. I love playing that because the drummer's playing the train, the swinging train on the snare, you know, and the bass is clicking, and then you got the just that alone is just a great sound. I just like to sit in that for a little bit. And enjoy that sound. It's so much fun. And yeah, the that solo that he does on that is, I want to say, Rock and Roll Ruby. It's the original. It's the solo from Rock and Roll Ruby. I have to go back and listen to it to be sure, or maybe it's just. I thought I remember hearing that once, and I could be mistaken. It might be that because I know that when Setzer did that Rockabilly Riot Volume 1, when he covered Rock and Roll Ruby, one of the solos he plays in Rock and Roll Ruby is the solo that he plays on 49 Mercury Blues. So I don't know if he borrowed from himself or if that's the actual solo to Rock and Roll Ruby and he put it in 49. I haven't really looked into it. Yeah. And he has that. That's all there is to it. Watch anything? No, I didn't watch it. Not yet, anyway. I have the I have it on my Spotify. Was there something to watch? Looking at my, I'll figure it out later. Um, yeah, I have to. Sag Dragon Fall, yeah. The song, you mean? Yeah. Um, I haven't heard it yet. This week has been so crazy as far as getting. I had. I wanted to get. What's that? Car. I wanted to get this the Rockabilly Boogie video done, and I was, and then trying to get that Xtuga wireless thing going. That I had just finished up Rockabilly Boogie uh, Thursday night. Listen to okay, yeah. No, I unfortunately haven't. Like I said, I haven't had a chance yet. That's definitely on my list. I have a pretty clear slate the rest of this evening and tomorrow, so I'll definitely give it a listen to. Yeah, just trying to get those two videos together. I wanted to get the Xtuga thing done because trying to get that is just to be efficient and be reliable as much as I can be with as much time as I have to make it, and also keep the videos going for the channel as well. And I wish I could post more often and do the videos, but it's always something comes up and I can't get to it as much as I would like, or things take a lot longer than you think they are. You do it and you forget, oh, that didn't take very long. Actually, that took you 6 hours. You just didn't realize it. um, but that's yeah, it's fun though once you get it all together. And I always try. It's my fault too. I try to add a little bit more, like little sound effects and things to make the video, the little intros, a little more interesting, and add that to like the the old TV with stuff play. That actually doesn't take very long to do stuff like that because once you do it the first time, you have all that stuff preset, and then you can just kind of plug and play and drop and drag stuff in. But you try to finding all the clips takes a bit. Um, where to because you got to be you have this idea. Oh, I would like to have this. I would like to have. Um, I wanted to have like a image of the last video in the very beginning when it comes up, and oh, thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, the what was it? What was it? Yeah, the beginning. Yeah, the beginning part where the he has that little theater, drive-in theater, and the video there. Originally, what I wanted to do was have like a jukebox, like a image of a 45, like a video of a 45 coming in and clicking in and having that sound effect and the song starting. I thought would be very cool. But then you start looking around and you find this stuff and you have like I don't really want to just steal from other people's content too much. It's fine to find like a stock photo or whatever and use it, but um, to pull from other people's created work, I try not to do that, and I haven't yet. So I'm like I don't really want to go down that road. So if I ever, there are a couple of places that still have some jukeboxes here. If I find one and it's still working, I'll take some video of it. But oh, thank you, I appreciate that. The I try to just break it down and explain it the way I would want it explained to me. And the best way I found is to just take it piece by piece. You have your structure, if you understand the chord progression, how it's working, and then if there are solos or riffs or whatever, you go over the riffs separately from the the solos, and then your ending is your ending. That's your tag, and your intro is separate, and you have that different structure, and play it all the way through so you have context, and then break it down as much as you can and explain it. It's not always easy to figure out how to. This one was a little tough to figure out how to um how to explain some of that stuff because the time, like we said earlier, the timing on this sounds very weird. Not like a typical rockabilly, so or solo in general. It's just kind of all over the place. So um, the best thing to do with stuff like that is just listen, play it slowly, listen to it, and just explain exactly what it is. And that's the best you can do. Well, thank you. I try to make it easy. Yes, you are correct. The best way to learn is to teach. I found that I've learned so much just from doing these videos. It's been a benefit to me as a player that I can that breaking this stuff down and really going, oh, so that's what's really going on, and you learn so much more you wouldn't think, but you do. Writing the tablature, making the all of that. Yeah, I just wanted to. I have okay. I created a play. I'm creating a playlist on Spotify for any tunes that I'm recommended to listen to, so I can put them all together. There we go. It does. It's definitely solidifies things in your head. Um, I haven't really done too much teaching like one on one in person. I've a few lessons, but nothing crazy, and it's kind of I don't know. It's no, if that, for whatever reason I end up giving like a couple of lessons, and then the person just doesn't get back or whatever. I don't know if whether they're not getting progress fast enough or whatever, but um, the one thing I've run into, at least one on one, is that a lot of the people that, or at least the people that have come to me for lessons, don't really, they don't even really know the basic stuff yet. So you have to learn your chords, you have to learn some scales and get your fingers working before you can even get to playing songs. And I think they get a little discouraged um, because they realize that they have a lot of just woodshedding to do in general before they can get to learning what needs to be learned. Which I say just go and watch videos and read the books and stuff like that. Which is why I'm doing this as well to help people and build the channel and the brand, of course, as well. And I'm going to be doing the beginning lessons from the very beginning all the way up. Then you can just have it on a playlist on the channel, and you just go guitar lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down the line, and I'll take it as far as I can, until it makes sense to kind of have a stop with it, or how far I can keep going with it, and then it's in order, kind of where the next step would be, as opposed to just random things all over the place. Yep, it is. Do I play any Gat and stuff? Not live. I mean, at home I mess around with it, but I don't really. There isn't any. I thought about doing Funky Mama, but I don't really know what else to, what other um, tunes I could do. I'd love to do what's the name of it? There's two of them. Actually, it's in my set. My fingertips. It's funky. No, not Funky Mama. Nitpickin'. Nitpickin' was one of them, and the other one is hmm, not here. I am going to put it on. I have these little set break things that I play in between our set breaks. I have like a phone and um, play songs in between. This isn't going to play, is it? Elmira Street Boogie. That was the other one. Yeah, Nitpickin's great. I just, a couple of like the riffs and stuff. Just getting that took a while. Or, the fun ones, the easy ones to do are like, or, that, you know, the fun little riffs. And there's that other jazz one that he does that he like doubles the notes on it. Homage to Charlie Christian, I think is what it is. Not sure. Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. That is that's definitely something you could spend a lot of time. Fire on the Fingertips. I think so. I have all. I mean, I've listened to all of his stuff. Um, isn't it on one of the end of one of his albums or something? No, there's that Fingers on Fire. That's Fingers on Fire. I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of. So no. Hmm. Oh, The Humbler. I have that album. I don't know if it's on Spotify, but I do have it on CD. So, or at least I used to. It's not on Spotify. But yeah, so I've probably heard it then. Um, because yeah, Fingers on Fire was on his 70 set, the live in '77. So if it was on the Humbler, it might have been there too. I mean, his solo on Cruisin' is just crazy. The Humbler stakes his claim. That was the live one. Yeah, they don't have the Robert Gordon one, which is weird, but whatever. Um, Another uh, guitar player for like for chicken picking stuff. If you've heard of it was a sound check. Oh wow, jeez. Um, for the chicken picking stuff. I mean, of course, there's like Ricky Skaggs and all that those guys, but Johnny Highland. I don't know if anybody's heard of him. He's from Maine actually, but he's in Nashville now. Play with a Don Kelly band and stuff, and has just great chicken picking chops. Cool. All right. All right. Well, let's see. I'm going for about an hour and a half. Anything else anybody wants to you want to go over any other tunes or if you have any other questions? Otherwise, we can maybe wrap it up here shortly. And Johnny Highland, yeah. Hmm. Yeah, that is a bunch of YouTube stuff of him. But if what's it? There's no video to it, but it's the Don Kelly band. It's on YouTube. Johnny Highland playing Roly Poly and Truck Driving Man. Those those two. I do need more beer. Look at this. I need a mini fridge. That's what I need. But there's a he plays. I think That's All Right, Mama, and he's got a great. I forget the name of the amp. I want to say it's Space Cowboy or something, but it's a kind of combo bassman type amplifier, but more of a modern thing. But it's cool. Oh, you're, thank you guys for hanging out. Um, yeah. If there's any, I think next week we'll do that. We'll get. I'll throw this backing track up there that I was playing to in the very beginning. That's just a 145 in C, kind of a faster tempo uh, thing. And then next week I'll have at least a rough mix of a couple tunes, but and then we can at least listen to them to get an idea, and you can let me know what you think. The Reverend stuff, not really. I mean, I sort of try to learn. What was it? You know, bales of bales of cocaine or martini time or something, but I never really did learn it. I did kind of learn I forgot how to play it. Drinking and smoking cigarettes, and that's more of a newer ish tune on the I personally I like that album, The Laughing and Crying, where it's more rockabilly country stuff. But of course I like all the other stuff as well. Uh Part of the reason why we I never did was because we were always kind of adjacent or not my band, but I'd played in other bands where I'd always be kind of adjacent where we'd open for them, and I've done that before. So it's kind of, it feels weird to kind of have, not that we would have played it for the show, but I just never did. And not that we were at the same level as the Reverend or anything like that, but I just, I don't know, just never really, um, never really thought about it to be honest. Uh, but it would be cool to learn a couple. Yeah, I know. I haven't watched that one specifically, but I've seen a couple of his videos. Fun Guy Records. That's right. Yep. Yeah, it's cool. Cool that he started doing that. Ooh, really? Three parts. Okay. I'll have to look at it. Now, if he ever teaches Cocaine Blues or Martini Time, I'll definitely watch. Definitely want to learn those. Um, I'll learn whatever. I'll take a listen to that or watch that. Again, trying to find the time to watch all this stuff, and on top of trying to make the, making the videos, you think it's gonna be quicker than it is, and it always takes longer. Like they always say, you go when you figure out how long you think it's gonna take, and then double it. And that's general rule of thumb for any process and making stuff like this or recording. He's getting older. He's getting older. Um, yeah, he's still fun. I saw him a couple of years ago here, and he came in to Rhode Island. He was just here recently, um, in Boston. He's still traveling, still doing it. Yeah, yeah. Maybe one day be able to do the same, get out on the road. But again, like I said last time, it's got to be, has to make sense to a certain degree. But in the meantime, do YouTube and release new content out there. I can reach a lot more people this way than just traveling around playing different venues. At least I think. Well, that's not that old, but we're all we're all getting older. I think he's, yeah. Yeah. That's what moving on. Pass it. Keep it going. Keep it going for the next generation too. Um. All right. Well, I guess I know I had said last time we should learn some kind of a song or whatever. So I don't know if you guys had anything in mind, or you saw anything you want me to play there or go over, or if we, you know, we can always just call it down and just kind of shut it down, and we'll uh we'll start it up again next week and go over and show the new tunes, show off the new tunes, and try to go over some sort of song next week. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate you hanging out, and we'll see you guys next week. Yeah, I'd say the best way we could do is the best thing to do is to just pick a song, whatever it is. Pick a song and say, I'm just going to learn that and figure that out from start to finish. And then you got that, and then you move on to the next one. And that's probably the best way to just stay focused. That's what seems to work for me anyway. If I try to move around. You're welcome. Take care. We'll see you next week. Alrighty. Well, I think, yeah, we'll go ahead and hopefully have that other video up, and I'll start working on the next bunch of stuff and let you guys know. I'll have try to post some updates and things of, you know, new content and different things that are coming out. And we'll pick this up again next week, and we'll have a great beer time. You know what? I'll do that. I'll just have another beer. Have another beer, and we'll see where we are. I'm doing pretty good. How are you? Now that somebody else has joined the chat. I can have one more. That was probably the slowest I've ever drank a beer. So I need like a little. I gotta go grab the beer. I need like a little. Please stand by. Um, I'm stuck. Yeah, I I need like a little. Please stand by. Thing to flip to. Here we go. Okay. I'll be right back. Yeah, Jeopardy music, right? All right, I need to open my door anyway. I was getting a little warm in here. Yeah, Nick Lowe. It's funny. What was that tune he did? Who did a rockabilly tune? Um, like, or am I confusing that with someone else? Whew, that's a little better. Ah, okay. Let me pull that back up again. Yeah, I can kind of go over. Let me go over this a little bit. This is Blue Days Black Nights by Buddy Holly. Yeah, that's true. They did a whole bunch of different things. I just always think of course, Cruel to Be Kind. Did he? Wow. I'll have to. I don't know why I don't know about that. I know the the Jeff Beck one, of course. Yeah, so that Buddy Holly, that Blue Days Black Nights, if you a pretty simple thing, kind of finger picking sort of thing. At least the way I play it, I end up playing it like this. I just kind of do the walk up and then play an A, E9, and then you're doing this, which is kind of a F sharp minor 7, but it's an A. Only difference, one note difference between those two chords. Um, whether you play the, whether you add the F sharp or not add it, but you replace the F sharp with the E. But when it's a minor 7, you're only changing the bass notes. All the notes are still there, so it's the same stuff. And then up to the 4 to the D, and then all the way back down, and it's just back and forth and back and forth. And 1983, everybody's rocking. Okay, I'll have to check that out. I will add it to my list. Hmm. I'll just have to go right to the August. You go to albums. My goodness. Oh no. Oh, it's there's so many albums. It keeps going and going. Okay. Wait a minute. Everybody's rocking. Okay, there it is. Added. Perfect. Great. Cool. Thanks. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah. Start looking at my list here, and I don't know what else to kind of go over, but that's basically the solo. Collins Kids? No. I mean, I did play. No. Did I ever play that? No, I played the Elvis version just because. Um, but fun stuff. They were definitely fun. Yeah. I like they were on that guitar um was the record label Rhino Guitar 50s or Legends of Guitar. That's it. That's the one. What is going on? There we go. This thing here. Um, this was just a compilation I remember getting when I was starting to get into rockabilly, and and they had all these tunes on here. Some of them I'd heard before, but most of them I hadn't at the time. And I think what the Collins Kids is on here, right? Just because is yeah, there it is. And it's all songs that have great, you know, great guitar solos. I think James Burton is waiting in school. Um, we actually I forgot to mention that we actually did that. We did a couple of years ago. I submitted a. I don't think they ever did it again. I thought they were supposed to, and it never happened. Was kind of a rockabilly contest, and you'd submit an original tune to really Flying Saucer Rock and Roll. Oh, huh. I'll have to listen to it again. I don't remember anything. I've played that with a couple of bands recently. Hmm. Oh. Hmm. I'll have to listen. I'll have to check it out again. I don't remember. Yeah, I will. Um, yeah, so we submitted one of our tunes, 47 Cadillac, to this rockabilly um, contest, and it was hosted by. See them doing an odd Luke and Skip. Isn't that from Ubangi Stomp though? Is that also in there? Is that in the same? Hmm. Yeah, it's funny because um, um, one of the a very well known band around this area, young used to be called Young Neil and the Vipers, and it's Neil and the Vipers. Usually their opening tune is Ubangi Stomp. But oh yeah, so we submitted the thing, and I thought, contest, whatever. Never get picked for this for something like this, and it was hosted by three. people. I can't remember the third one, but it was Slim Jim Phantom from the Stray Cats and James Burton, guitar player. And our song got picked, and we got into the final running. We didn't win, but I don't even know what you would get if you did win. But I think it was like play on some radio station, or I don't know, because nothing really came of it for anything. But I wish I don't. I think that 2020 happened and everything kind of got all messed up. But um, it was cool though to have. I have the video somewhere of them reviewing it and talking about our tune. So it's cool to have like Slim Jim and James Burton kind of say, yeah, I really like the guitar playing on you know on 47 and everything. So that was cool to have James Burton actually to recognize it, or at least know know who I am, or have heard the song. That was really a treat. But yeah, that was about they spelled Eddie Cochran wrong. I just noticed that. Oh my god. Jeez. Anyway, that was some of the when back trying to find the Stray Cat stuff there when I was even in the early 2000s. You had, even though the Setzer Orchestra was incredibly popular, um, trying to find, other than if you go vinyl hunting, that was easy, but trying to find the stuff on CD or whatever, um, couldn't do it. And they'd have a lot of just almost bootleg CDs of a lot of this stuff, and there would be so many misspellings of everything. I remember, instead of Runaway Boys, it was Ruanaway Boys. Just slapped together nonsense, trying to cash in on the swing revival stuff, and they just kind of put out a whole bunch of garbage. Um, the Head Cats? No, I haven't. Is it Head Cat? Like, oh wait a minute. It looks. Is this Slim Jim? Looks like it. Yep, it is. Okay. Oh, Lee Rocker and Lemmy. All right, Lee Rocker. It looks like Slim Jim. Who's that other guy? Oh, Danny Harvey. Um, cool. I am going to mark this as well. There we go. That was easy. Slim Jim. Yeah. Cool. Wow. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I'll have to look and see. Is that a song title? I'll have to check it out. Little Sister? That's on our list. We play that one. Oh, yeah, Lemmy's in the band, yeah. I'll definitely listen to that. It's fun. That's pretty much all there is to that. Goes to the 4. Sharp 5, back down. Kind of like Susie Q, you know. All kind of the same. Or, Little Sister, Don't You. Yeah. Sister, don't you. Little sister, don't you kiss me once or twice. Say. Yeah, that always gets the crowd going. That's a fun one. We don't play it very often. It's on our alt list, but cool. Well, yeah, we'll just hang out for a little bit. I don't really have anything else planned today, so like I said, working on those videos. I was up like 14 hours. Just I want to say it was like 12 hours or so, just trying to crank that Rockabilly Boogie video to get it out, and I'm glad I did because I like being able to. I don't like it going so long. I tried to. I know if you watch some of the earlier videos, it says like new videos weekly. So technically, I'm still doing it with the live stuff, but to actually produce a video, it just really it's got to the point where I can't keep up with that, and work and do other have a have other jobs and other things that I have to do, and a lot of these channels that produce videos weekly, they have a team of people, or at least one or two other people doing editing, finding B-roll, some sort of something. If I just did this and talked and made a lesson and then chopped it up and put it up, yeah, I could make a video every week or a couple a week, which I thought about doing. Um, Not to replace what I'm doing, but either to add to or um, have a separate channel where it's just the TeleDynes clips, and you just have little bits of whatever. If I can get this more structured and I can go over a tune and then have that separately. With the live stuff, it is nice. I do like the way YouTube organizes it because we're not. If you look at the video tab, this doesn't come up. You have to go to this the lives tab to see this, and then you can watch this whole thing or in pieces or whatever. And if I start clipping this and adding it too, I think it just kind of clutters up the channel, and I don't want to do that. So, but no, thank I yeah, I appreciate the patience. Eventually, the channel builds enough, I can bring somebody else on board and do some, you know, we can produce content a little more frequently. Um, but for now, I'll just it's the one man operation. Yes, the playlist tab helps too. That's so crucial to me with other I see so many channels, not just music stuff, but other things. Um, the yeah, um, I see so many people, they don't put the videos in the proper playlist order, and you go, where is how do I find this? And you can alter it at any time. So if it gets too much and there's something specific you want to say, like, okay, all the guitar types of lessons that are this can go here, and this goes here, and really organize it. It makes it so much easier for people to find it. And when channels do that, it's it's so helpful. Um, oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah, as much as I would like to post more, I don't want to dip. I mean, not that the stuff that is the best quality in the world, but I try to do the best I can, and I don't want to go down or dip down in quality. And I really come from an audio background. That's more of and music background. So it's not really a I'm and the video editing has been I've learned how to do that. I've been doing it now for a while, but it's I still think of it in terms of the audio. So the way I edit is in terms of audio, not really in terms of visual stuff. That's stuff that's done later. Yeah, I found the tab very helpful. If you can have a tab with the video, that's great. Um, I know that some people will have the tab like the line will be playing. You can see the line and it'll glow like in time with the notes. I don't know how helpful that would be. My program doesn't do that, unfortunately. I'd have to get a like Guitar Player Pro or Guitar Pro, I think it's called, in order to do something like that. Um, I might switch to that. I think I'd mentioned that before. I might switch to that later, but I think just having the tab, because I know that for me with the old, even the VHS Hotlicks videos, just having the little booklet separate from what was, I never really watched the tab on the screen because you could barely read it anyway. And but having the booklet with you was helpful. I mean, yeah, I mean, it takes a while to develop the ear, and even then, it's like you think you hear one thing and it's actually something else, and then when you play it, it's oh that's what it is. You know, I was like I said, play slowing it down and listening to it at a slower speed. Yeah, a lot of the DVD sets they all come with the tab booklets. The Hotlicks videos, all the Hotlicks videos I used to have on VHS, I've replaced with DVD versions, and they have the booklets with them. Um, but the the YouTube stuff, you can slow YouTube down. So you can go into the speed settings and just slow it down by, you know, a quarter or half. You start slowing it down, but half is it starts to sound funky, but at least it keeps the pitch. Um, and if you have a tune that's not on YouTube, if you have you can go to an app on your on a phone or whatever, and you can play the song there. You can slow it down and listen to it. Yep, that's true. That's why it's always good to start slow, and it works out because you end up starting slow anyway, and then you build speed over time, and that works that way. But if you learn something really fast right away and you try to play it slower, you'll find you can't. It's not so easy. Yeah, I forgot about it until I'm like, I always thought that I had to use. There's this program. If you have an iPhone, it's only on iPhone, I think, but called Audipo, and it's a app that you can use and you can slow down the stuff. I'm sure Android has a similar app, but if it's on YouTube, you don't even need to worry about it, and you can just use that, and it doesn't slow the pitch, doesn't lower the pitch, so you can really really take it one little beat at a time, and you just kind of use the tablature to go along with it and slowly build up your speed and hear the different pitches and it's weird, and it's the rockabilly stuff, especially the Sun stuff or that area is is that area is what's I saying? Sorry, I got distracted by chat here. Hi, Richard. Welcome back. Um, is that a Setzer model, Gretsch? It is a Setzer model, Gretsch. It's a hot rod, like he was saying. Yeah, it's the line. It's I don't know what line this is. I know it's the Blue Harbor model. It's the Blue Harbor model. Extreme Coolant Green. Yeah, I should say I'll tell you. It doesn't matter. I played a gig back in what was it, a few years ago. Anyway, down in Pennsylvania, and it was for this like rockabilly event, not event, but like this monthly thing that they would do down there. Anyway, one of the guys that were there was um I don't know if anybody knows Dibs from the Rockettes, but he was he came in and sat in with us or whatever, and a couple other I don't want to throw anybody's name out. I shouldn't, but um I got a chance to play a couple of people had known uh Brian, and they had a couple. I was able to play a couple of like prototype hot rod guitars, which was really cool. And it was the Coolant Green, the first prototype of that hot rod guitar. It was a little darker than what you see now. The original prototype was more of a Christmas tree color, um, probably for the Christmas show stuff that it was designed for. And it was the thinner profile body because the one they have now is the thicker one like this. This is a little deeper than even like the other sets are Gretsch, the orange one here. Um, And that and then there's had what was the Eddie Cochran model, uh, Gretsch, New Jersey. Yes, yes. um, anyway, he had the Eddie Cochran model, but it was Setzer's model that was made for him. It actually he used it in the video "Let's Shake" that he released on an album I don't know, a couple years ago, a Rockabilly Riot Volume 2, I think, and he did a video of it, and he had that Eddie Cochran model guitar, but he had one specifically made for him. But I guess he didn't keep it or whatever because he gave it away. And anyway, I had a chance to play it, and it was cool. Like that's this guitar that was used in the video, and the difference between his model and the Cochran the Eddie Cochran model is that um, the Bigsby is fixed on the Eddie Cochran model, so you can't do this. You can't move the arm. It's just locked in place. And so he had it changed to where you could move the Bigsby. That was the only real difference there. Um, just a little side story. I forgot about it, and then you mentioned the Coolant Green um, guitar, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember playing that. Yeah, this does have. Sorry, I missed that. This does have the deeper body. Wish I had the dimensions in front. I think it's deeper than even the Phoenix. It looks like it is. Anyway, not quite as deep as the jazz box behind me that you can see in the corner, but um, nice. Yeah, my uncle lived there for a little while, um, and we used to go down there to play. Was over in not quite in Philly. It was in Glenside, I think, was the name of the town. Um, the but it was it was a bit of a drive, but it was fun to do it. And then again, you know, 2020, and it just hasn't really been worth it for us financially to kind of head out for because it takes up a whole weekend, to travel even for just one show. It's better if you can attach a bunch of shows to it and do a kind of a mini tour, then it's fine. But otherwise, you have to, you do one thing, and I get it, it's not easy for people to pay for a band to travel out of town enough to justify it. So, we end up just staying here locally. You can make a little bit more dough. And again, it does. I've seen bands do it for so long, and they're just, as everybody says, I now you really have to get your social media presence up there and get, into the get people out to get people to know you that way as opposed to doing it the old fashioned way. There's really no reason to be traveling around until you generate enough, you know for lack of a better term, awareness of the band. People know who you are, then maybe it's worth it to go out and play if you know people are going to show up. But I've done it. I've mini tours around like the southeast, going up South Carolina, down Mississippi, Alabama, back down to Florida, done that little thing. And I never played Dobbs. I've heard of it, but I've never played there. No. This was at a place called. This was when they've changed venues now since they still have the same event, but it's a public event. It's called. Rockabilly Sundays or something like that. It's very, you know, easy, you know, basic basic name for it. I think that's what it's called, Rockabilly Sundays in Glenside. And it used to just be at a VFW, and I think they've changed the venue since then. But it was always a fun time. It was always I always had a great time going down there and doing it. Nice. Yeah, right. I know. With something like that, I would prefer anything overseas. Um, we wouldn't be traveling with gear. Maybe take the guitars, um, but everything like the drums would have to be provided, which probably would isn't too much of an ask. I need a bigger van. Yeah, a van with wings, right? Or a boat, one of those um, one of those duck tour boats they have in Boston. um, but the power conversion wouldn't would have to just find an amp something similar over there because that would be I know that's always an issue. But I guess Setzer had even said like back when he was over there, he would play. I mean, I know you can convert the power stuff and whatever, but he's got the money to ship all that stuff, or he probably has stuff over there. He had played through like some Vox amplifier, I guess, that he really liked, and never really was able to get that again outside of the UK. So I don't know. I don't remember which model, probably an AC30, but yeah, you never know. One day, got to get a booking agent or a manager or something. I don't even know if it's worth it to try to get on a record label anymore. Maybe. I wouldn't even know who to approach um, for that kind of thing. I don't even know what they're. I mean, even the bigger names playing roots music in general are just they're on probably surf. I mean, Setzer's on Surf Dog, which is sort of somewhat independent, small label, although they're distributed by Warner Brothers. So there's that. Travels with guitars and pedals as somebody else. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah, if you can do that, I mean, just he plays with a deluxe, so it's relatively easy. I want to say it's a deluxe, so that's an easy amp to find anywhere. Someone's got it. Someone's got it somewhere, and any music store is probably more than willing to you know donate an amp for the night. It's growing over there again. Well, that's great. Well, at the very least, I'll try to get send the album at least try to get it maybe played on some local. I don't know if the people listen to the radio or whatever, or some other kind of some outlet that would be that people listen to over there. I guess everybody everywhere is listening to what Spotify, YouTube. It's kind of all the same now, right? Yeah, he rents it. Okay, that makes sense. Radio, what's that? Yeah. AM radio. Oh, cool. Nice. I've never been, I mean, never been to Austin, but I assume that's where you mean, but could be Houston because Rev's from Houston, I believe, right? I've been to Houston, but I've never been to Austin. Uh, Unfortunately, didn't get a chance. I'd love to see the Paladins too, but um, no, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, as soon as the album is done, I mean, we have the old one. It's on YouTube. It's on Spotify. There's a little bit, but I'll try to get the new um, some of the new stuff and some of the covers that we've kind of made our own versions of. At South by Southwest, I mean, or just in Austin in general. We actually almost had a chance to go play there at South by Southwest, but it never really didn't pan out. Yeah, you never know. Jimmy Vaughn. Oh man, I know. The guy I play occasionally sits in with us and plays as um uh, sax player up here. His name is Doug James, and he plays with Jimmy Vaughn. He usually is on tour with him. That's the one. That's a guy I'd like to get in for a podcast once I get that going. Well, yeah, I've never been to Austin. My drummer has. He says it's great. It's like a totally different world of Texas. So Nashville, I've been to a couple of times. Yeah, I mean, I went to the Nam show a couple times when they had it there, and it was I don't know if I told this story or not. It was pretty funny. Um, saw a lot of bands at the Nam show, but also on Broadway, and saw mostly country bands, but there was one rockabilly band, and it was what's the name of the band? What is the name? It's I always get the numbers mixed up. Oh yeah, BR 459. That's what it was called. Um, and the bass player was playing. People there they just play constant. Like I was saying, 12 gigs a week earlier in Newport. people do that all the time in Nashville, and they're just playing constantly and to make a living. And so if you're willing to do that, I mean, you can do fairly well, but it's a lot, and it's just influx of people. Um, but I remember hanging out with that guy, and then we went to see our 459 played at the Grand Ole Opry, the new Grand Ole Opry, outside, um, later in the week, and you go around the show and everything and see all the different new setups and displays and everything. Um, but and Gretsch had a display there. This was before Fender took over distribution, so that was like the first time I had ever really seen Gretsch's um, in be able to play them. When I was living in Florida at the time, you couldn't find Gretsch's anywhere. Sam Ash wasn't a distributor, and they were the only, and local music stores didn't want to put the money out to have them in store and let them sit there, and don't blame them. But so anyway, I remember Fred Gretsch being there and talking to him a little bit, and they had the green, this guitar, but the green version, the split pea soup version. All that. And it was that was cool. But what was funny was later on in the week, whatever, at the end of the show, end of the NAMM show, like the Sunday or whatever, they would have kind of a showcase where a bunch of different vendors would have their gear on stage, and they'd have a bunch of different local bands and local groups come in and play through all of this gear and demo it for the crowd or whatever. And there was two things that were funny. That I was with my a friend of mine who was playing, I was playing with at the time. He was a bass player, and this band came on, and they we looked at him. He's t-shirt, cargo shorts, um, sandals or something, and an electric bass player, drummer, or whatever. And I'm like, oh, what's this gonna be? And I was like, well, it's probably not gonna be rockabilly. And then the guy yells out, "Let's give this town a little setzer," and they break in the Rock This Town, and we went, oh, okay, totally off base there. And one of the new pieces of gear that had come out that year was the new Fender Cyber Twin. I don't even know if they still make it, but this had amp models and amp modeler stuff in there and everything else. And so they were demoing that band was playing through that amp. And what was funny is about halfway through Rock This Town, you heard and there was smoke, and the whole amplifier just blew up in the back of the stage. And it was just, and the Fender guys came out like trying to figure out what happened. And it was pretty funny. Delay, reverb, bunch of different things. I use um typically I use a Mystery Brain, the Nocturne Mystery Brain delay. The reverb, I'll have a Dan Electro Spring King. Um but lately, last night for last night's gig, I used that. It's an old it's a RE301 Roland Space Echo tape tape delay reverb. And a lot of people say that they don't like the reverb on that thing, but that I like it a lot. I think it sounds great. It really gets you. I like the spring stuff for the surf, but sometimes it doesn't work well for the blues. So I really like the reverb in the Space Echo. And the delay, of course, is fantastic. Yeah, it was pretty funny. I don't know what they did. I want to say their whole set got cut short. It does sound, yeah, the get up, yeah, it does sound like Sublime. That's what we kind of thought it was going to be, but it wasn't. It was Rockabilly. I was shocked, but the amp blowing up behind, I felt bad because his set got cut short and he wasn't able to finish it because of that issue. But oh well. Yeah, I know, and I can see why because they are finicky. They're temperamental. Um, 0102. What, the Nam shows? This was it was either 03 or 04. I went to two of them, so it was I want to say I know one was 03, and so there was another one. It was definitely after that. It probably was 04. It might have been 02. I don't remember exactly, but it was some. I know one of them was 03. It might have been a different year, but yeah. Yeah, it was fun. That was when Dan Electro was still producing a lot of pedals. I guess they're still around. I really don't. I don't. I used to have this the real Echo from Dan Electro. That's pretty good if you can get one of those. They're relatively cheap. Um, so the El Capistan I think is another one. That's pretty good. Got a weird chorusing effect though to me. Um, there's the full tone. Full tone? I think it's called. Yeah. The Ampeg, the bass amp. It's okay. You know, I if for low volume gigs, it's fine for bass. Or what really sounds good through it is the acoustic guitar. Actually, I have one of those little Fender acoustic amps. I don't have it up here, but it's the one with the wood paneling on the side, and it's okay. And it's got effects and stuff built into it, so it's nice for that. But it it was kind of acting up on me, and the last time I tried to play it, kind of crackling. I don't know what's going on. It's solid state, so is this, but I just can't. Either the acoustic is too loud or it's not loud enough, and the frequencies are all over the place. But with this, it seemed to just even the acoustic out, you know, perfectly. And I thought this is great. If I want to play acoustic guitar, no effects, but you don't really need much except maybe a little reverb, maybe. I mean, honestly, the best acoustic amp is the mm, okay, blanking on the name. The box, the square, the cube. Yeah, so it was probably that year then. It was either had just come out like the year before or whatever, or the year after. So, but that was like their big highlight of the day was the Cyber Twin. Not an accordion. I do have an accordion though. I've messed around with it a little bit, but my bass player knows how it works. He plays it a little bit. It's yeah, I can learn some polka stuff. Some Weird Al Yankovic. um yeah, so Buddy Guy played one for a while. Jeez. Yeah, I always found them a little sketchy. I just didn't. I was like, the problem with adding all that stuff is that you end up with more. Oh, did they? They had an accordion input. That's funny. Um, the problem with all that tech is that you have circuit boards, and the more you add to it, it's like there's just one more thing that can possibly go wrong. And repairing solid state stuff is not easy compared to tube stuff. And everything has a circuit board in it now. Yeah, I know. Never satisfied. I mean, I'm satisfied. I have the, you always go through the stuff. Now that I have this, I have the Basemans, I've got the Space Echo. I'm good. Yeah, I don't think I need. I mean, I've always wanted every delay pedal that I've tried to get has always been an attempt to make it sound like that thing. So now that I have that, I should be good. We always need another guitar. It's definitely a disease. I need to put another rack on the wall, another mount. Oh, the Gemini. The Gemini is a tube amp. Okay. All right. Yeah, I thought you might talk about the Ampeg. Yeah, I mean, for bass amps, I really like. I have a 410 SWR 410 cab with the um uh the 700-watt matching head, whatever, massive thing because it's older. Now they do the same setup and it's this big, same bass thing. You still have a big cab, but your head is like this tiny. Um, and it sounds just as good as the big heads. And I played through. A buddy of mine's had it's a 215 Mesa Boogie, fairly new uh, amp, and great for upright. Uh, and elect. I mean, obviously it's fine with electric, but always the trouble with uprights the feedback issue. So you're always trying to stop that from happening, and a lot of it's in the setup, how you um, situate the wing pickup. If it's too tight and squeezed too hard in that in the bridge there, it'll feed back. If it's not enough, you won't get enough tone or bottom end. And then of course the sound post has to be set up properly and all that stuff. I don't know how to do any of that. I can set up guitars and repair guitars and stuff like that, but uprights, that's a whole nother thing. So I take that to a guy I know. I take that to a string shop. So luckily they stay. Once you get them set up, they're good for years. Guitars kind of have to be messed with every year minimum, depending on where you live. If you live up here in the Northeast, you're gonna have caught cold, so you're gonna have the neck's gonna do this and this. So you're gonna have to always look at the action, make sure you're not bowing too much. Gretches are pretty good because especially if you get the ebony fingerboards, pretty well made. Yeah, but guitars are fairly easy. Only thing I haven't been able to do is like a neck reset, which happens to acoustics and hollow bodies. Of it, ultimately, every can't. This is new, so you're not going to see it, but every acoustic and with a cutaway, or even without one, the this whole part of the neck is going to dip down into the body, and the whole neck is going to start doing this over time. So you have to, to fix that, you have to heat it up with a heat lamp. Remove everything. It's a dovetail in there. Get it out of there. Put a shim up in there and raise it back up. With a bolt on, it's easy because the trick is like a Tele or a Strat. You just take the neck off, take a pick, put the pick underneath the neck, push the neck back down, screw it in, and it pops the action up enough to where you could adjust the saddle and the bridge. I'm sorry, the saddle and the nut to get a lower action if you're having trouble getting a low action on with a bolt on. Gambling. Now, I used to repair guitars, so that was always the main issue. Always trying to get that action down to at least 2/32. That's the factory standard for Fender, at least, anyway. And the lower the action you have, the less fatigue you're going to have on your fingers. So you always want to have that. A lot of people overlook the action here. You think about it here, because you can lower the action easy. But here, you have to file down the nut slots. You don't want to file it down too much, but you can always use baking soda and super glue to raise it back up if you need to. Yeah, I love Teles too. Like the one I have, I think I had it on stream a couple times ago. The red one with the Bigsby. That's cool. My Strat is not, it's a Squire, so it's not really a Strat, but it does have the Stevie Ray Vaughan signature pickups in it, so it's pretty decent. What tune was that? Yeah, I bought this in 2018, so haven't really expanded anything crazy since then, gear-wise. Yeah, you can definitely do that. I was thinking about forever just buying the parts. Oh, this? Yeah, that's just, yeah. Yeah, the finger picking stuff. I got basically a lot of that from the Setzer Hot Licks video talking about Two Hip Gotta Go. And you're just kind of messing around with these four, no matter what key you're playing in, those four notes just arbitrarily bouncing between them, and then have the blues, minor third to the third, down to the root, and you're just keeping that going, and you're just bouncing around. Sometimes I'll pick double stops. And then just bouncing back and forth, or, pick simultaneously. Either way, the thumb is still going the whole time. Yeah, it's a great sound. Even just picking with your fingers in general is cool. I mean, you play with a pick, it's cool. But if you pick with your fingers, you get the notes at the same time, right? So adds a nice little pop, especially when you're playing through the amp and everything. Yeah, I haven't really played. I did play the Telly last night though. That was fun. Um, it originally came with a rosewood fingerboard, and I switched it to a maple fingerboard. I've always liked the maple fingerboards. Um, yeah, I've been thinking about just getting parts. Just grabbing a body, grab a neck, get some pickups, make my own Telecaster. I want to say if it's still around, like um, that. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Um, Seeing necks and stuff. Oh yeah. All parts. Warmouth. Oh, cool. Yeah, not the same rate. Oh, it's a little cheaper. That one's a little cheaper. That's cool. Not bad. Really cool. Looks like they make more than just tellies. Like, yeah, they make everything. Um, Guitar bodies. Here we go. Ooh. Oh, great. Now you got me addicted to this. Hmm. Telly deluxe bodies, custom bodies, thin bodies. Jeez, that's everything. That's crazy. But I did see this. The Jaguar or Jaguar. Is it Jaguar for in the UK? Like the surf guitar. Everything. My goodness. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna save this. Oh wow. Well, there you go. Between them and All Parts, I'm sure I can find anything I need. Oh, here we go. All Parts licensed by Fender. Replacement neck for a Telecaster. Sweet. Ah, it's easy. Just put the frets. Oh, it looks like it has the frets in it already. That's even easier. Oh, that's great. I don't have to do anything. All you got to do is put the. Oh, you got to put the nut in. That's not a big deal. It comes with the nut. Oh no, here you go. You get the tuning pads, and I get the locking tuners though. Comes with a nuts carved already. Yeah, you barely have to do anything. That's great. Have that neck, put it all in there, have it done in like a couple hours. But yeah, tonight to have that jazz box, uh, 3 single coil and 3 humbuck. Yeah, it'd be nice. I'm sure you could probably ask them to do it. Just get a blank body so you could route your own um, pickups, or I guess you could expand the routing. I've done that before, where somebody would come in with a body um, where it had the single coil routing, and they wanted to put humbuckers in it, so you have to route further out. Just expand it. That was, you just have to get a template there so you don't do any cowboy routing as they call it. Just so you, otherwise you'll chip off the whole top of the guitar, and that's no good. It is pretty neat. Well, I've saved that. I mean, I knew about All Parts because I have a bunch of old stuff from All Parts. I have a case of saddles and nuts and pickup uh, pot knobs, not for Gretsch, but for Tellys and Gibsons and stuff like that. Oh, you can. Oh, well then, let's just do that. Have them do it. Yeah, why not? And get the whole thing. Get the surprise. This hasn't gone yet. Do that. The a lot a lot of the thing with even the high end Gretches is that the Switchcraft is the brand that you want to get for knobs and pots and switches and stuff. You unfortunately they never put those Switchcraft in there when they're making them, so you end up having to replace them after a couple of years, which I'm glad this one hasn't gone yet because I replaced the Switchcraft output jack in the orange one, but not. I don't think I did it for the pickup selector. Something's acting funky with it. I need to either. I don't really want to have to deal with it. Putting a wiring harness in a Gretsch is a big pain, so I'd rather just take it to somebody else and have them do it. And you really need a proper bench and all that stuff set up. Like when I worked in that field, it go to work and you'd have that stuff, but I don't have that anymore. So it's just easier to take it to someone else, especially for the cost and time and everything to deal with it. Setups and stuff like that, sure, but where you don't have to really do any crazy work. Solid bodies are easy because they don't have to, you know, that just that's super easy. Especially tellies. I mean, that there's nothing to them. Strats are a little more complicated with the 5-way switch, but not horrible. Yeah, let them screw it up. Let them be liable. Yeah, they just make a new one because they have all the stuff. I can put the pieces together. Um, that's another little trick too. If you ever run into uh, action that's too or a neck that needs to be adjusted on a Telecaster, sometimes the truss rod, like on a Gretsch, is under, and Gibsons are here, and where acoustics, they're in the sound hole under pair. Well, the tellies are sometimes in the neck, and you have to get in there with the truss rod wrench to do that. So the best thing to do is to take the table, put a towel down, make sure it's safe, put the telly face down and keep the string tension up and hold it down. Hold it down, and then you take the screws out and keep pressure on it, and take out, don't, you have to crisscross the screws so it keeps the tension equal to each side. And then as you're taking that out and you take the plate off and you slowly release it, and the neck and the body will go pop like that. And then you can remove it, and then you can twist the neck a little bit, and then you can put it back in and push it back down flat, and then put the screws back in crisscross, keep the tension, and then and then you don't have to take the strings off or loosen the tension and everything, and then put it back to, because it just saves you so much time if you're trying to do something like that. Or just avoid buying a guitar with a truss rod under there, because I think mine has the truss rod wrench at the top, so got lucky on that one. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. The old stuff doesn't, a little bit more cumbersome, I guess. Yeah, for tellies and that sort of stuff. I mean, the hardest thing, though, for me was always installing and setting up a Floyd Rose tremolo bar. Those are just a huge pain. Very difficult. Not that I would ever use one of those, but I've set them up and they're not fun. It takes a good half a day just to set that thing up. At least it did for me. I suppose if you do it all the time, you might get faster with it, but Bigsby's, there's nothing to it. It's easy. The tremolo bars, that's the thing about the tremolo bars with the Fenders, is that you have to get them to stay in tune. The easiest way is to just get the tension, loosen the tension of the strings, not the strings, but the springs in the back, and then until the tremolo plate comes up a little bit, then take a pack of strings and you stick that pack of strings underneath that plate, and then you slowly start equally bringing the tension down on each of the strings until it just touches the string pack, or starts to put some pressure on the string pack, and then make sure the strings are up to tension. And then when you pull the string pack out, that is where your setting is going to be, and then that's where it's going to stay in tune as you use the tremolo bar. But somebody told me, they were telling me, I think it was the shop I was working at Rudy's, where they said that the problem with the Fender spring setup is that it doesn't work. It's really a bad design in the way springs are supposed to work. Springs are designed to put pressure on, and then the spring releases it up. That's the way a spring is supposed to work, and that's what a Bigsby does. Down, up, like that. So you're putting pressure down on the spring and then bringing it back up, which is the way it should be. With the Fenders, the spring is, what you're doing to bring it down is you're stretching the string, and then the string is pulling back, yanking back to bring it back to tune. And that's the reason why you have to do that setup thing, because it's always going to change over time, because when you stretch a spring like that, it loses integrity over time. So you have to you have to either replace the springs or, and you keep setting it up. Over time, you can't set it up anymore. You have to replace the springs. So the Bigsby is a better design, but I think, although it's not really designed to do the dives and stuff that they use, which is why they developed Floyd Rose and all of that, for that sound. But you can dive enough. I mean, you can do a whole dive, Sounds different, but I think it sounds cooler. Oh yeah? I don't have any hacks directly other than just wrapping the string around and holding it here. I mean, having the locking tuners like I have on this thing is great. I mean, unfortunately, the Falcons, they don't, because of the special, type of tuning knobs, they don't have the locking things. But hey, what are you gonna do? Then you get the string winders. You get one on a electric drill. You know, zip it. Yeah, I mean, kind of learn these things over time. Working in the shop was very helpful. Learn a lot about what to check for on guitars and how to make sure if you want to see if you need a um, fret dress or a G&P, they call it grind and polish. You take you can get like a little ruler, like a metal flat or any kind of um, flat metal piece of metal that's a straight edge, and you just put it against the however long it is and find different little sections, like a 6 to 8, whatever, little section of the guitar for the frets, and you just put it on there and you kind of like rock it back and forth if you can. It shouldn't rock, it should be flat. If it starts to rock back and forth, especially in the middle of the neck, you probably need a grind and polish, which you probably will end up running into not being able to keep your action down low. And that's what you'd have to do to fix that. And you can do that usually twice for the life of frets, and then after that, you have to have it refretted. Um, yeah, sorry, I didn't ask the question. I didn't respond to the question. What strings? I just use Diodario 10s. Basic stuff. I don't go crazy. That's a great idea. Use the capo to hold the strings in place so you can get the string around and around the bar. Fantastic. I'm definitely going to do that next time. Thank you. That's a great idea. I guess you could do it for all of them, but you probably could just do it one at a time, as you need it. How are these strings, anyway? They're all right. We'll do another gig, couple gigs. Yeah. Exactly. I'm having a good time. I hope you guys are too. Just kind of chilling. It's fun to talk about all this kind of stuff. As you ask me questions or whatever, I started triggers my memory, and Reminds me about little things like that and whatever else I can talk about. Um, I don't really change them that often. Maybe once every 2 months. Um, I just feel underneath on the D string primarily because that's where usually we'll start to feel the divots from the frets. You're not going to really feel that on the top three strings, but you feel underneath. You'll feel that, and if you feel it really bad, a little bit's fine, but a little, and then it's time to change them. And then if you, I check the A string, and I can bear like I can feel it a little on the D, but not that bad on the A, so I know I'm fine. Um, exactly. So that's that's usually, and if you see a dip, but if you see a divot or feel a divot on the top, I don't, I'm not feeling anything right now really. So then that's a red alert. Then you know you need to change your strings. Um, and some people have really corrosive sweat on their hands, so you have to be aware of that. And if you know that you have that, then you can just check and feel the top for corrosion. One thing you can do to avoid it is to take a microfiber cloth after you're done playing and wipe the top, stick it here, and then wipe it underneath like that. Get the grime off of it. There's always Dr. Duck's axe wax is good. It's a little oily, but it does protect the strings pretty well. The fast fret stuff is okay. I haven't used that in years, but um, that Dr. Duck stuff goes it, it it's a little bit goes a long way. So you only need like a little dab on a shop towel or something, and that can breathe new life into the strings and give it a couple extra weeks, you know, if you want. But the Diodario 10 seemed to work for me, so I haven't really had a need to or to switch. I've tried other brands like Ernie Ball or whatever, and I found that they broke a little faster. They didn't last as long. Um, was the other brand? I think that was it. That was the only other brand I tried, and it's like once I went through that, I'm just gonna go back to Diodario. I'm fine. So I've tried the elixirs of stuff like on acoustic. They're nice, but eh, they're expensive and don't really feel the need to spend that kind of money on something like when you can get like a 30 pack on or a 10, sorry, not a 30 pack, but a 10 pack on Amazon. Um, that'll last me almost a year. Cool. Let me see. All right. Well, I've definitely stayed on. This is a new record. So it's been fun, but I think I'm going to head out here. I appreciate you guys staying on and chatting. Um, thank you guys again for supporting the channel and the live stream and the whole thing. Um, and yeah, we'll definitely keep doing this every week, and I'll work on some more videos, and we'll yeah, keep it all going. And next week we'll have that. I'll try to have one of those, at least one of the tunes, somewhat mixed, so we can take a listen. And it's my tune, so I don't have to worry about copyright or any of that stuff. Not that I can't play other stuff, but you run a risk if you know. I mean, if it's your recording, it's easier to get away with, but if it's somebody else's, then definitely don't want to do that. Yeah, I did hear that too. If they're all made from the same place, but I would just say that Ernie Ball is probably the other manufacturer, one of the other ones. Trying to mess with us. The outro, exactly. All right, thank you guys again. We will see you next time. See you next week. Have a good one.